Welcome to It Takes a Viking, the official podcast of the Salem State University Alumni and Friends community. Mike Mitchell from the Office of Alumni Relations, bringing you the first of three very special Viking Warrior Day editions. Excited to welcome to our community the first chair of the combined Alumni Association and Foundation Board of Directors, Annalisa Di Palma. Annalisa, thank you for joining us.
It's a pleasure.
How
Thank
are
you,
you?
Mike. Thank
It's
you.
it's Viking Warrior Day, a very exciting time of year. 1,854 minutes of giving. Before we go into kind of your role as the chair and things like that, I think it's important to just kind of establish a little bit of history and some foundation for those folks that are watching us at home. You have been a member of the Salem State University Foundation previously. Now you're chair as the alumni of the Alumni Association and Foundation, but your family history started here many, many years ago. Before we get into that, I wonder if we could just take a moment and ask you to introduce yourself to the folks that are watching and kind of how long you've been involved with the boards for.
Yeah, great. Thank you. Well, it's certainly an honor and a privilege to be here and also to serve in this capacity for the university. I have been, this is finishing my 8th year as part of the foundation board, which is now finishing the year 1 of the combined board, the Alumni Association and Foundation. So I'll be heading into year 9 as a member of the board.
And when you hit 10 years, you get a fancy jacket or something
Oh
like
my
that. That's what I've
gosh.
heard. But prior to that, and obviously, you've held some roles on the board for a long time. Your family history with this institution started many, many years ago. And so I know your mom was a graduate of college, right?
She was.
And then I think Uncle Al has been a part of the
Right.
community as well. And so you've kind of grown up in one way or another with Salem State being a part of your life.
Oh, absolutely. Yes. My father was a very proud Salemite and born and raised in Salem. My paternal grandfather came to Salem from northern Quebec over 100 years ago, as I said, and as you mentioned. So my dad was born, raised, and lived his entire life in this community. In fact, right down the street from the Salem State campus. So my mother, who was born and raised in Lynn, Massachusetts, was a very proud first generation to college student and a very proud Viking when it was Salem Teachers College. Additionally, my brother is a proud Viking.
Excellent.
So yes, very long family history.
And it's interesting to me that you know the family history starts all those years ago, and obviously time passes and everybody changed. What was it about the institution that, when you got the call to say, hey, would you be interested in getting involved? What was it about that time in this place that made you say, yeah, I think this would be a good opportunity for me?
Oh, that is a great question. Wow. Because that would be over a decade ago now when I met Cheryl Webster, and I had already been involved in some philanthropic endeavors, volunteering my time and my efforts, and it was often in some type of youth-based organization with strong foundation in education. So education has been really a passion of mine. And when Cheryl talked to me about a fundraiser that they were having, I think it was 5 years in running. It was the wine auction, in fact, and it was to raise money for financial scholarships, for need-based financial scholarships. It was an easy yes, and the rest, as they say, is history.
And now, where did the relationship with Cheryl start? Was it at Girls Inc. or was it another organization?
Yeah, thanks for
Okay.
bringing that up. I believe I was at Girls Inc. serving on the board at the time. I may have been their board chair at the time. I can't quite remember, but that is, initially where I crossed paths with Cheryl, and we had coffee and we just hit it off personally, professionally, and in just sort of everything kind of that makes us both tick. So Cheryl and I built a really great relationship.
And Girls Inc., a fabulous organization doing incredible work
Doing
in the city of
incredible
Lynn,
work.
for sure.
Yes, thank you.
So in your role as chair of this new combined board, take me through kind of, I don't know if there's a day in the life, so to speak, but what is the role of the board chair doing these days, and what does that look like?
That's a great question. I'm not sure there's just like a day in the life kind of answer, but more broadly to get a sense and give the audience a sense of what a board chair does. Um, I think of it a little bit, to use a sports analogy, I think of it a little bit like um, the captain of the sports team. Whereas I am an individual board member, an individual contributor, but in my role as chair, I represent the board in its collective form. So I speak not on behalf of myself, but I speak on behalf of the board. Um, as far as the leadership provided by the chair, it's really it's a collective. It's collaborative in that I work closely with Executive Director Webster and our executive leadership team to help set the direction, to help um, ensure that we are adhering to our strategic plan and ensuring that our strategic plan continues to remain in close alignment with the direction and the strategic plan of the university. So yeah, I think of it a lot like the captain of a team in a way. So providing that leadership, um, helping guide the board in its decision-making process, right? So not making decisions for the board and not speaking as an individual, but speaking as a representative of the board as a collective body.
And the board itself has, sort of this enormous fiduciary responsibility that just kind of rides under the surface, that if you're not ingrained and involved on the day-to-day basis, you probably don't know that it's existing. And so the board oversees the investment of donated funds to the institution that benefit things like financial aid and scholarships and departmental gift funds. And so that oversight, the investment committee that's responsible for where these funds are allocated to benefit our students, I mean, it's a pretty significant operation here.
It is a very significant operation, and I am still learning, Mike. In my role as chair, I took a page out of our previous chair's book, in that I I try to attend every single committee meeting. So I'm a member of one standing committee. I'm a member of the governance committee myself, and I try to attend all the committee meetings. In addition to, of course, running the executive committee meeting, which is the chair's responsibility, and running the full board meetings, which is also the chair's responsibility. But to get back to how complex. It's like the foundation's all grown up now. I think we've been through one campaign. We're now in another campaign. Our endowment is growing, and it's getting just more and more complex, I think, every day. And thankfully, the staff here at Salem State that supports our board behind the scenes is second to none. I certainly couldn't do what I do, or look look half as good as and put together as I think we do as a board, if it weren't for the staff. There's absolutely no question, but it's very complex, and as it should, and a heavy responsibility, in the sense that we're stewarding donated funds, right, and investing and overseeing an endowment. So the transparency and the accountability that comes with that is enormous.
And you've touched on something very important there, because of course it's Viking Warrior Day, our single largest day of giving. We've got Super Fan behind us here. Understanding that your family's roots here, with your mom and your dad in the city, and your family, they started many years ago, but that commitment at the family level still exists today. I mean, obviously you're very involved as the chair of the board, and now as the Di Palma family has gotten more involved as well. Your husband Dino serves as an advisor to the Bertillon School of Business, was a judge for the pitch contest. The two of you recently sponsored an event for us at the Sheraton Four Points Wakefield, an internship breakfast. So what was it about that event where you two had kind of said, you know what, this is something we want to get behind?
Oh, wow. That was a really neat opportunity. So I'll back up a little bit, if I may.
Of course.
And when we were in the planning stages, because Dino and I are also on the steering committee for the Meet the Moment campaign. So when we were, in the silent phase of that campaign, and Dino and I were discussing, where he and I were in alignment in terms of what our philanthropic gift was going to look like. Internship scholarships and the internship program was an easy point of overlap for us in our interests. So we set up the Willette Di Palma internship scholarship, and we're super proud of that. To be able to also bring my family's, my family name into the picture, sort of honor, both my parents, not just my mom, but both my parents. And so internships was just a point of overlap for Dino and me, and sort of where we felt we could really make a difference, and where we were passionate. And then the idea for the internship fundraiser breakfast came to light, and the rest is history. We kicked off what we hope will be the first of many more to come.
And the breakfast, a resounding success in its ability to grow funds for the program. And as we talk about our campaign and meeting the moment, I mean, we've seen over the last several years now, especially, that internship opportunities are critical to setting up students for success after they graduate. Not only does it give you the employment skills that you need, but it also helps you make those invaluable connections for industry professionals that you might want to get to know.
Absolutely, absolutely, Mike. And this was the heart and soul of the breakfast fundraiser. Really, it's what Dino centered his remarks on. It's what my remarks focused on, and then we heard from our students, which is just the best way to to bring to a larger audience the importance of this. So many of our students are in fields of study that require internships, whether it be from healthcare, nursing, to teaching, to business, and shockingly few of these internships are paid.
Big deal.
So that's a really big deal, to be able to dedicate the time required to not only gain the skills on the job that you need for earning your degree, but also those important networking opportunities and mentorship opportunities that may pop up in the workplace, or that are likely to pop up in the workplace. The networking opportunities for students are invaluable. So to be able to provide scholarships that will actually enable a student to be paid for the time that they're working in their internship, I think it's just the greatest investment I can think of making, sort of in this realm, and for the students of Salem State.
And one of the challenges that we identified as the unpaid internship is that for the student that may have 2 or 3 part-time jobs, they couldn't give up that time because they would be leaving money on the table. And so now, because of folks like you, that's no longer a consideration they have to worry about anymore, because those internship hours can be paid for them.
Yeah, that's really well said, Mike. And we want to spread the word about this area, that people could get involved if they so desire, because I think it has a widespread appeal, because so many folks, even in my age category, have had work experience, and whether that was paid work, whether those were internships, paid or not, we can see the value there, and we need our students to be ready for the workforce when they leave here, right? And so how are they going to do that if they don't have any experience in the working world, right?
And we know that I think something like north of 70% of our graduates stay in the Commonwealth, so it's a direct correlation to the workforce development in not only the North Shore, but the broader Commonwealth as a whole.
Absolutely, absolutely.
All right, so shifting gears, we have our new combined Alumni Association and Foundation this year, which presents a new opportunity for you in a few very short weeks to address our graduates
It does.
at commencement 2024. So what are you excited about and what are you looking forward to?
Wow, I'm excited about all of it. My eyes were kind of wide open when Executive Director Webster said, "Oh, and by the way, you know that you're speaking at commencement," and I was like, "Oh my goodness, okay." I am so excited to just be a part of the whole event, just to get the opportunity to represent the combined board, to represent um, the alumni and foundation board to these, soon to be moments away alumni themselves to, just to say a few words. I'm going to be short and sweet. I know there are a lot of commencement speakers. I think I'm 2 minutes, and that is perfectly fine with me. But just to try to get the group really excited about becoming a part of an international, alumni association where our alum are all over the world. 70 odd,
Almost 75,000.
75,000 of them almost. Yeah.
What a number for our little engine that could here.
I know. It's really amazing.
Our little teachers college.
It's amazing. It was Salem Teachers College when my mom was here, and then Salem State College.
And now it's still still that foundational place where you can get an extraordinary education for a lot less than what some of our neighboring institutions might get you in the area as well. So Viking Warrior Day, our single largest day of giving, 1,854 minutes, kicked off 5:06 p.m. today. Stay tuned for more great content throughout the rest of the day today and all day tomorrow. And we're going to share some more great content in the text of this post if you're interested in supporting internships and the remarkable Salem State students that complete them. Chair Annalisa Di Palma, thanks for joining us.
Thank you. This has been great.
And this has been another episode of It Takes a Viking, the official podcast of the Salem State University Alumni Association and Foundation community. Stay tuned for more great content throughout the day.